Thank you, U.S. Philippines gets deadly stealth missile cruiser donation from U.S. A Philippine lawmaker has appealed to the United States to show its commitment to Manila's defense by donating one of its guided missile cruisers that is set to be decommissioned next year. Observers are divided on whether Washington would grant the request, with some questioning the viability of acquiring an outdated vessel requiring regular maintenance. Congressman Rufus Rodriguez, representing Cagayan de Oro's 2nd District in the southern Philippines, told reporters on Wednesday he had sent a letter to U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin III, and Ambassador to the Philippines Mary Kay Carlson, asking them to consider donating the USS Philippine Sea, CG-58. Rodriguez said, "I am sure that it will be a big asset in our efforts to defend our territorial waters, our sovereign rights, and our personnel and fishermen from intruders." The Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser, the second of the U.S. Navy ships named after the Battle of the Philippines during World War II, was commissioned in 1989. In previous pronouncements, the U.S. has repeatedly reaffirmed its commitment to defend the Philippines, including referring to the 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty, which calls on both sides to help each other in times of external aggression. In 2022, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, who visited Palawan, an island in the Philippines facing the South China Sea, said Washington had a profound stake in the future of the region and stood ready to support the Philippines. In May last year, U.S. President Joe Biden reassured his Philippine counterpart Ferdinand Marcos Jr. that Washington's commitment to defending its Southeast Asian ally remained ironclad. While the exact date of the request to U.S. officials was not disclosed, Rodriguez's appeal came after the latest confrontation between Philippine and Chinese vessels in the South China Sea. Last Friday, a Chinese maritime militia ship was reported to have deliberately sideswiped BRP Datu Cabello, a civilian vessel of the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, while conducting routine patrol around Thido Island, referred to as Pag-asa Island by Filipinos and Zhongye Dao by the Chinese. Manila has accused Chinese vessels of employing aggressive tactics against Philippine ships in the South China Sea, such as firing water cannons and using high-intensity lasers. Joshua Espina, a resident fellow and vice president of the International Development and Security Cooperation, told This Week in Asia that if Washington were to grant the request, it would be its first for a cruiser equipped with comprehensive combat capabilities. Cruisers, in general, are good for blue water capabilities given their large tonnage and size. In other words, one that is employed for power projection. For firepower, this Ticonderoga-class cruiser hosts clams for multi-domain threats, and such were used in various regional emergencies in the Middle East against ISIS and Hezbollah land targets, Espina said. Clams, or Tomahawk land attack missiles, are long-range and subsonic cruise missiles that can strike land-based targets. With its ballistic missile defense interceptors, the cruiser's firepower is comparable to that of the U.S. Typhoon missile system, according to Espina. They differ little in their anti-ship capability, in that they can both fire TLAM munitions from their vertical launching systems. Tactically, of course, cruisers are movable compared to Typhoon, whose platform is geared almost like crate trucks, he said. It's uncertain whether acquiring aging cruisers is practical. The Pro is the immediate addition to the Philippine Navy's force, covering the South China Sea. The con, however, will be maintenance costs, Espina said. The appeal from Congressman Rufus Rodriguez to the United States for the donation of the USS Philippine Sea, CG-58, reflects Manila's growing interest in bolstering its naval capabilities amid escalating tensions in the South China Sea. This region has been a flashpoint for territorial disputes involving China, the Philippines, and other Southeast Asian nations. The USS Philippine Sea is a Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser decommissioned as part of the U.S. Navy's modernization plans. Equipped with advanced systems such as the Aegis Combat System and Tomahawk Land Attack Missiles, TLAMs, the cruiser could potentially provide the Philippine Navy with significant power projection and defensive capabilities. However, challenges associated with acquiring such a vessel include its age, maintenance costs, and operational viability. Strategic implications. If the U.S. agrees to the donation, it would signal strong military support for the Philippines under the Mutual Defense Treaty of 1951. This move could also counterbalance China's increasing assertiveness in the region, particularly around the contested Spratly Islands and Scarborough Shoal. For Washington, it aligns with its Indo-Pacific strategy to reinforce alliances and deter potential threats in the region. However, naval experts and observers caution against the practical challenges. Maintenance costs. Aging vessels like the USS Philippine Sea require substantial upkeep, which could strain the Philippine Navy's limited resources. Integration and training. Operating a cruiser of this complexity would demand specialized training and infrastructure upgrades. Strategic utility. While the cruiser adds firepower, some experts argue that modern, smaller, and more versatile vessels may be better suited to the Philippines' needs for maritime domain awareness and coastal defense. Broader context. The request comes amid heightened tensions in the South China Sea, with incidents like the collision between Chinese militia vessels and Philippine patrol ships exacerbating disputes. The Philippines has also recently expanded its defense cooperation with the U.S., including access to additional military bases under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA. Whether Washington will grant the request remains uncertain. The U.S. has historically been cautious about transferring high-maintenance legacy platforms to allies. Still, a positive response would underscore a deepening security partnership amid shared concerns over regional stability.